Oh, hey, shall we put up the camera? Hey, everybody. Welcome to a surprise Saturday stream of my health and wellness challenge. Today is going to be day 84 of my challenge, and this is going to be about the 49th broadcast. So that makes Monday number 50, which will be pretty cool to hit that many, to have that many broadcasts. Um, if it is your first time checking out the channel, my name is Jonathan. In November, I started a challenge that I had imposed on myself to take my health and wellness serious for the next 3 years. I had found in the past that I've had a lot of success with losing weight, but whenever I got to my goal or did, the diet did what I wanted it to do, I would not have a plan, and I would always go back to the ways that I had, my old habits, and I would continue to gain weight. One of the things I thought would be interesting to do today is to go through and just kind of give a history about myself. I've talked about myself, and I talk a lot about what's going on currently, but I've never really done kind of a recap to what got me to where I started at here back in November. So I thought I'd just kind of go through a little bit of history. I was going to try to find something, and I'm not probably going to be able to do it while I'm live here. But, anyways, like I said, I'm just going to talk a little bit about my history and then kind of hitting the diet and kind of how things have been going. Just like I said, like a recap of kind of everything. So, I guess to start off with is that I got to 520 pounds, or 519.8 is where I started this challenge at. I technically have been higher than that when I was getting ready to do the YouTube and get into my extended fasting. Just the increase in activity of doing those things did cause me to lose some weight before I did my official first day on November 1st. But, anyways, I've always been overweight growing up. It was something where I suppose, um, since I was always fat, it was kind of accepted as far as how that's, I'm just a fat kid. I also, other members of my family were overweight. I think that there's a lot of emphasis that's put on athletics on young kids, and both of my older male siblings uh, excelled in football as linemen and in wrestling as heavyweights. And so I guess it was a bit assumed by myself and others that that's where I would be a lineman and I would be a heavyweight wrestler. I never did anything to change those things from happening, and it was the easiest route, really, in looking back, as far as diet is concerned, because you're rewarded for being large in both of those roles. Um, but let's see, Jen. Jen is my sister, and so she says here I could have followed her role and been a band nerd or a theater geek, quite possibly, and it may have, you know, it may have affected, what I felt about my image, especially being on stage in front of people. Uh, so, um, so really, I feel like my childhood was pretty standard for a lot of kids. I mean, I talked about so going into my freshman year of high school, the weight limit for a heavyweight at the time in the state was 275 pounds. I'm pretty sure going in my freshman year, I needed to lose like 10 pounds to get down to 275 as a 13-year-old, 14-year-old, I guess. And so that would be kind of, I know I was heavy before that. I suppose I'll share this story. I grew up wrestling. I used to go and travel to wrestling tournaments throughout the state or the region, and I would wrestle up to as a little kid. You would wrestle. They would be paired up by age. So like first and second would be paired together. First and second graders, third and fourth graders, fifth and sixth graders, and then seventh and eighth graders. And so what would happen is that as a kid, I would come in and be, uh, if I was the lower, like if I was a first grader, third grader, fifth grader, or seventh grader, I usually didn't have trouble uh, pairing up with somebody because a lot of times the second, fourth, sixth, and eighth graders would be older, they'd be a little heavier. And there was a rule that you had to be within 15% of body weight uh, of your opponent in order to be in the same grouping. That way, you don't get really heavy kids wrestling. If you were 200 pounds, you don't want that person wrestling a 150-pound person. Just that 50-pound difference would be too much. And so I would get paired up into brackets. And so I would always kind of be wrestling older kids in those groups, anyways. But where it would come in would be if I was in the older group, like the second graders, fourth graders, sixth graders, and then actually as an eighth grader, I was kind of out of luck. But I would go to a tournament. We would get there early. We would go in, weigh in. They would do brackets, and then uh, almost. I mean, it was pretty much standard practice that I knew that when I went and weighed in, that after they did the pairings, they would call me to the front desk, and they'd come up, and my dad would be there, or my coach would be there, and they would be like, "Hey, unfortunately, nobody else in your age group is within 15% of your body weight. And so you have a few options. We can just give you your money back and you just not wrestle. We can give you the first place trophy for winning your division in your age group because you were the only one um, that was in that age group, or you can wrestle up an age group. We just need your permission and your adult permission to wrestle you up. So as a second grader, I'd be wrestling third and fourth graders. As a fourth grader, I'd be wrestling fifth and sixth graders. As a sixth grader, I'd wrestle seventh and eighth graders. And so that was just kind of a common practice for me because it was just, I was going to be the big kid. And I competed well in those groups. And it made me a better wrestler. It made me do well when I got to high school. And being athletic in high school is what helped kind of keep me from getting to that next level of fatness. Being a heavyweight wrestler kind of capped me at 275. I did lose a bunch of weight as a freshman to do a tournament after season. And that so I went as a freshman, I was over 275 in wrestling. End of the season, I was around 250. I had to lose another 25 pounds in a week. And I did that with some help from some extensive bicycle riding over the course of a spring break. And then when I got 225, I was in the best shape probably ever that I can remember being in. I remember specifically when I was 225, it was after wrestling season. And so we were required to do physical education. If we were in athletics, we could opt out, but my freshman year after wrestling, I wasn't. So I was forced to do the mile run, and I ran the mile in 9 minutes and 2 seconds. And I remember it specifically because it was the fastest I had ever recorded running a mile. And I just remembered it numerically. So, um, so then after freshman year, just kind of stayed around the 225 to the 275 area, but never had to really fight with my weight. And I never cared about what I ate because I was always, I needed to be the big kid to be a good offensive lineman. And I was fairly quick and athletic, even at my height or my weight, and then as a wrestler. Um, and then after high school, really where I started packing on the pounds. Went into college my freshman year, planning on playing football at a D3 college and wrestling. And I did do the season of football, but I did not take that athletics very seriously. I was out of the house and just kind of let the college scene sweep me up. And so I put on a bunch of pounds my freshman year of college. I left that college because I was no longer going to play athletics there and went to a community college. And that would be where I did my first, what I would say, adult successful diet. Um, at that time, we had some family friends that were really into AdvoCare. And so they uh, AdvoCare kind of, you're a sales rep and then you get people underneath you to sell the product, or you sell the product to people and they succeed. And then their friends ask them about, how did you do that? And they say, oh, I did AdvoCare. Would you like to buy some? And then it's like a whole thing was shaped like a triangle, almost like one person on the top and then it gets bigger. Anyways, what I would say the biggest success with that is that it did kind of get me that if I got on a regiment, I could stick to it, or if I stuck to a specific plan, I could stick to it, and that when I really worked at losing weight, I could lose weight. At the time, I believe I was in maybe mid to low 300s, and I lost about 40 pounds. It's very regimented. You take pills in the morning. You eat. It was. I don't know. I have any idea what program. But you take pills in the morning, eat, take pills before lunch, eat, and then I don't know if there's pills in the evening, but you would eat dinner. If there is pills in the evening, there were different pills than in the morning. And at the time that I succeeded so well, there was ephedra in AdvoCare, and while I was taking it, they removed the ephedra from the recipe. And whether that was what was helping me lose weight or not, psychologically, it was what was helping. It was what I felt like was helping because it was giving me all this energy, and it was really the losing the weight was giving me all this energy. But I gave credit to the drug, and when they changed it, I lost confidence in it, and I lost confidence in my diet, and slowly went away from it, gained the weight back. After completing community college, I then went off to a state college to do my bachelor's degree. Um, I did a bachelor's. I got my bachelor's degree in accounting, and so lots of not activity. I didn't do any sports at that point. Again, I didn't mention while I was doing the AdvoCare diet and lost those 40 pounds, I was coaching wrestling at the high school because I was kind of back in where I was. And so I also did lose weight during the wrestling season, being a coach as well. But then I left there, went to college, started gaining weight again, just eating whatever I wanted, not really. There was a Chinese restaurant right next to the apartment complex that was literally less than a 50-yard walk from my apartment. Like my apartment was on the end of a complex, and the building end of the complex, and then the building next door. Right, perfect map there. I'm sure you got that. And so I could just Chinese food. I mean, sweet and sour chicken and egg rolls and crab ragoons. And there was a sub place across the street. I was right next to. We might have had the closest apartment to the downtown hill in college. Like it was. I mean, the gas station, all of the bars, walking distance from my apartment, and we were right on the end. And so, 2 a.m. pizza. There's a bar that would sell pizza from 2 to 3 a.m. Like they wouldn't even sell it before that. They would just open up this window, and that was right outside my door. So I started packing on pounds in college. I came out of college with a degree, and then my family had a business that we had kind of just started working or building. We run a moving company. And so I came out of college and I went right into kind of the role of the accountant bookkeeper for the moving company, as well as doing a lot of the moves. We were very small moving company at the time. We still aren't huge, but we're bigger than we were then. But so me and a sibling or my dad were pretty much out on every move for a few years. So I think that helped kind of bring my weight back down. But at a certain point, I never got real low again. And I don't know. Prior to meeting my wife, I probably had lost some weight, but it wasn't on a specific diet that I can remember. I met Carrie, and then we kind of throughout our relationship, we have gone up and down multiple times. Let me see um, so I would do different diet. I found different diets. I know one of the first times I lost a good chunk of weight after we were together. Me and Carrie were seeing a personal trainer together, and both rocked it pretty well. I definitely fell off the wagon. It might have been that because what we ended up doing a lot is that like I would be on a diet and doing great, and then it would inspire her to start going on a diet, and then um the so then she would go on a diet and start succeeding, and then like when she would start a diet would be when I would be starting to fall off my diet. So then she would lose a bunch of weight and then kind of fall off that, and then we both went, we both start gaining weight together, and then one of us would kind of inspire the other one again. And we probably did that. I've had 2 or 3 times since we've been together where I've lost over 50 or 60 pounds. Um, and like I said, the first time we did it, it kind of was with an athletic trainer. The second time was actually I went to a doctor, and that's the one I talk about a lot here. Back in 2013, I started dieting. And what I thought I would do is I'm actually going to play the video from it's from March 26th of 2014. It's a local network where my doctor had me come on and we talked about my weight loss. So you're going to see me at about 290 pounds, 285 pounds. And I'm going to pop this up. If the audio is low or anything, let me know right away and I can restart it or I can do it over. But let me pull this up. So this is the video here. I don't know if it's going to echo through my speakers. Didn't think about it. Let me see. I might have to mute this mic if it's echoing. Let me know.
Oh,
Have you both today? I guess this is just the time of year.
Okay.
I just realized that I didn't have the audio playing when I started it.
Dr. Alish Karani and his team will be busy at their booth telling you all about their unique approach to weight loss. Dr. Karani is here now along with a successful patient, Jonathan Fa. Jonathan, Dr. Karani, great to have you both today. I guess this is just the time of year to be thinking about this, isn't it?
That's true.
To looking better, feeling better. Jonathan, quite the success story you've got.
Yeah.
Tell me about your original weigh-in.
Well, I met with the doctor in the middle of August last year, and I weighed 413 pounds at my first weigh-in, and been seeing him regularly. You go where you weigh in. He has support group meetings, and as of the 6-month mark, I've lost 125 pounds.
Oh, congratulations. In 6 months, you guys, we have your before and after shot. So you weighed 413 pounds originally. Was that a height for you, a maximum that you'd ever weighed?
I've weighed more than that in my life, but it's definitely high. I mean, that was at the high end
Look
of my
how
weight.
different you look before and after. How much more would you like to lose?
Probably 30 to 40 more pounds at this point. Yeah.
Well, before we ask the doctor about his approach to this, what made the difference for you this time?
It was just realizing that I had the power to take control over my diet. You know, it stopped pushing it off to a later version of me and take control of it myself and say I can do it now and I can do it right.
Well, let's talk to Dr. Karani about that power. He's just said he felt like he had the power to change it. What is it that you teach these folks that instills that in their minds?
See, Paula, when people come to us, they are suffering from victim consciousness, we call it. Victim consciousness means that they feel that they are victim of the situation, their surroundings, their habits, and that's what they're suffering from. And when they come to us, we give them empowerment, basically. We empower them that they can do anything they want. It doesn't matter how to do it, but they have to have a desire and belief that they can do it.
It all starts. It starts
It
here.
with the mind.
It starts in the mind. Jonathan, what were you telling yourself before when you weighed over 400 pounds?
I was telling myself that tomorrow's John would take care of it, not today's John. You know, I mean, it was, you know, it kept pushing it off, you know, and just got to do it.
Does this feel like something that you can stick with for the rest of your life, that this has staying power?
Yeah, because it's not so much about restricting myself from things or saying you don't say I can't have that donut. You choose not to have the donut, you know, or so it's yeah. I think I could stay with it forever.
Are you on a workout plan as well?
Not so much, especially when I first started. It's a very low calorie diet, so you know when you start adding working out in with it, you don't have a lot of energy anyways. I've started to recently to kind of keep my metabolic rate up and to keep the weight loss going.
Well, you know, that's the big thing that people always are most concerned with, being able to keep it off and keep it off for a lifetime. You're a young guy, so you want to be able to, you know, sit here 10, 20 years from now, not with me, but with somebody else in 10 or 20 years and say, see, what happened in 2014 really lasted. So, Dr. Karani, you'll be out there with your team at our
Absolutely.
Women's Fair tomorrow and Sunday. And I'm sure many of you have questions about whether it can work for you, because everyone's different.
Absolutely, everybody's different. Everybody's a different life situation. They don't know how to handle that. We help them basically how to handle every moment to moment. Don't take life as a whole past and future. This moment is the life. Just handle it.
That's good.
All right. Okay. I think there was an echo because my headset and my microphone were echoing. So it was me echoing. That is okay. So, yeah. So that was 6-7 years ago. Unfortunately, what happened there did not have the staying power 10 years down the line, but maybe it did in some ways, I guess, in that I believe that the mentality stuff as far as, you know, living in the moment and not stressing about what had happened or what is going to happen, is help. Like, if you're going to think about things that are going to happen, try to think about them positively and not negatively. And when you think back on the things that happened in the past, try to remember the positive things, not the negative things. Because when you think about things, you cause chemical releases in your body that cause you to have these emotions that may never come to fruition. So if you have a mental argument with a wife or loved one on your way home, then you release all these emotions and it actually makes you madder, I feel like, in some ways, because you imagine them saying the worst thing that they could say to you, even though they don't even know what the worst thing to say to you is. So you get that real bad emotion, and then you get home, and then it doesn't even, you don't even fight. Like, they apologize right away or something, like, and so then you spent all that time releasing that energy into yourself, or those emotions into yourself, when if you would have not, if you would have either thought about it positively or not thought about it at all ahead of time, then you never would have had a negative experience if it ends up positive. Obviously, there's you want to be prepared. Everybody wants to be prepared when they go into an argument, so that's tough to do. But that is from 7 years ago. I am very much skinnier than I am now. Some of the things I know now, if I mean, I could. There's probably a whole, notebook full of things I could say that I know now that I didn't know then, as far as what was gonna, happen over the next 7 years. Um, right. And Jennifer just kind of echoes what I said here, that when her and her husband have a disagreement before she leaves for work, she has a 2 hour drive to argue with them in their head. Absolutely. I mean, I have a half-hour drive to work, and I don't do it anymore because our marriage is perfect. But in the past, if I've done that, and now I actually think more about, or as much about, me stewing as I do about my wife being at home stewing about our argument. Um, because that's not healthy for my relationship either, is having her imagine that I'm saying awful mean things to her doesn't help when I don't think them, because I'm, like you said, you're doing the same thing. We're all preparing ourselves for that argument that sometimes it doesn't happen. It's an argument that may never happen. But to go on with my weight loss, that whole time that I did that weight loss, I was eating very low calorie for a long period of time. So, over the course of the 6 months there, I think I said, or 9 months, I can't remember if it was six. I think it was six. I was eating at probably a below 1,000 calorie a day, and it's tough to fight your body that long. I found, your body wants you to get full, and I noticed it since I've started this whole food plant based diet. I guess, and I'll talk about it later. I guess because I want to finish kind of going through what got me to starting this, and then kind of where I'm at. Um, so my notes here say, let's see. The biggest thing that I keep finding is, and actually I had somebody make a comment on a videos yesterday. It was the last sentence of their comment, and it was something along the lines of, right, it's the weight. Losing weight is simple, but it isn't easy. Right. That's, I think, kind of a good, um, like, that's what I found from my experience, is that the plans are simple plans, or they're regimented plans that I found, and you can lose weight, but it's tough to keep with them. And going into so I lost that weight, and then just slowly we continued to kind of trickle back up from 285. We were very active. I mean, we traveled actually quite a bit that year. We went to Utah, and we went to I went to Utah, I'm sorry, and we went to Las Vegas together. I feel like we might have done some other traveling as well. But definitely my photos of me, or like in that video, would probably be my favorite photos of me as an adult. Um, and just slowly got kind of bigger and bigger. In 2018 or so, I ended up. Bolt says he's got to run. Thanks for checking it out, Bolt. In 2018, I started getting into intermittent fasting, or looking into intermittent fasting. Carrie was kind of toying with doing some intermittent fasting and some like 1 or 2 day fasts. And then it got me kind of finding a few YouTubers. I would say that my biggest YouTube inspiration into fasting would be the Fasting Fat Man. His name is also John, or he goes by Big John. Um, he did a very long extended fast for 150 days, I believe. And then he had gotten his inspiration from the story of Angus Barberary. During the extended fasting, that is kind of the uh, whatever the pinnacle of fasting is, the Angus Barberary story, or the proof case that it can be done for a very long time. I did a fast, I think, while he was in his 150-day whatever. Um, I did a 30-day fast, and I weighed in the whole time, and I'd gone from, I believe it was 480 down to 420. I lost about 60 pounds in the 30 days. Really didn't have a lot of struggles with it. Again, having these stories, I was confident in the electrolytes and things that I was taking, but I did not have a plan coming out of it. I didn't refeed well. Kind of had a small plan for refeeding, but I kind of thought, I think maybe I thought fasting was just going to fix my brain. That it was just going to be like, okay, I fasted for 30 days. I got rid of all the toxins, and now my brain and body are just going to work right, work like they're supposed to, like all the skinny people's brains and bodies. And it didn't. I mean, I slowly put the weight back on. Fast forward to like March of this year, right as the pandemic stuff is kind of getting going, I had to take my daughter to a doctor's appointment, and she had her doctor's appointment, and it was an odd thing, and I talked about it previously, but as we were leaving the appointment, I was walking down an empty hallway. It's just me and my 3-year-old daughter, and it's in a pediatric ward of a hospital, but there's a large scale on, like, to my left as I'm walking down the hall. It's got like rails that, like, so people, and so just looking at the scale, it was kind of like, well, it wouldn't make any sense if this scale didn't hold a lot of weight. And so as we kind of walk by it, I just hop onto it. It pops up. It was in kilograms. So it didn't pop up the, what was I should have wrote that down, but it was like 300 or 234 kilograms is what it said, or kilos, 234 kilograms. 234 kilos, I believe, is what it was, which that comes out to about 215 pounds. And it was the first time I ever saw a scale that said I was over 500, and kind of knew I was, I guess. I mean, nothing I owned previously fit anymore, and so only clothes that I had bought recently fit. So I kind of knew I was at my heaviest then. Um, but we hit the pandemic, and again, I didn't. I mean, a thousand excuses. I've had 1,000 excuses every day for the past 8 years for not dieting. But I think that somehow in my brain I convinced myself that, you know what, if the world falls apart and we run out of food, going into a food uh, shortage, overweight would put me at an advantage. And so I think that's part of, I don't know, part of the psychology that I didn't change my mind, I guess. And so um we fast forward from March, kind of just hide in a hole, which I had been doing. My wife would say I was a hermit anyways, as far as going to school activities or doing stuff out of the house. I wasn't doing a lot of it. And so the pandemic actually just fed into my lifestyle that I was already living. Um, and so just kind of kept packing it on. And I think that maybe seeing that 500 pounds back in March might have, I mean, it was always in my head. I got to hold on. That line is 99% telemarketer. There to catch telemarketer call this off. Anyways, I was, the only thing that I might say is that it kind of did spark maybe a little bit of seeing that 515 of that I do need to take a little bit of care of myself. And just starting with something simple like my hair and my hygiene um was kind of what I would say was the first initial spark. um I got the idea, or the, I don't know, the inspiration to do kind of what I'm doing. I wouldn't say that what I'm doing right now is close to what I planned on doing going in, but it is what I'm enjoying it the most. I guess is the streaming, getting the interactions, the comments. I mean, that specific comment I talked to about yesterday, where they talked about the losing the weight is simple, but it's hard. They were, congratulating on my progress so far, and it really helps me, and it feels great because um, I have lost 120 pounds, and it feels great to be down 120 pounds, but I'm still 400 pounds. Like, I could still lose half my body weight and be clinically overweight. So I know I have a long ways to continue to go. Um, but going into the videoing and recording and making my uh, weight loss a, a thing here on YouTube. I had some different plans about doing highly edited things, and I really found that I feel like this is a little bit more um, genuine feeling as far as edited or produced video where things are chopped up and changed like that. Um, and to be frank, this is easier than trying to change my diet, change my life, have my wife doing all this at the same time with the cooking, and now adding, what we're going to try to, with our kids, having them change things. Um, so a little, Jennifer says there's nothing wrong with editing. She does get paid as an editor. If you want to work pro bono to edit my time, it's a time thing. I got changing my diet, becoming more active. I have already stuff that I was letting build up that me changing my diet needed to do so I could start chipping away at the things that were building up. Um, and so to just pile on another thing just seems like so much. Even if I were to, like, even piling on working out would be like adding, like, I can't, like, taking that time, it's a whole time management thing. I'm focusing very hard on my diet. That's what I've done a lot um since that time. I mean, I lost the weight in 2013 by dieting. It was a lot easier than getting up and going to the gym and sweating. I mean, it's and I've had this discussion with Carrie over the years, that weight loss and health like that, weight health, happens at the kitchen table. Fitness happens at the gym and in on the treadmills, and through exercise. So you can be skinny and not fit, and you're skinny because your diet. But if you want to be skinny and fit, then you have to have a good diet and you have to work out. If Because when I was in high school, I was fat, but my numbers, like on like my blood numbers and my blood pressure, and so like fitness, like I could run a mile in 9 minutes. I mean, that's probably fitter than most people could run a mile, but the um but I wasn't healthy. So I guess health happens at the table, fitness happens, what I would say. Um Jennifer also says, do what you can handle and you'll or right. Do what you can handle and you'll set yourself up for success. Exactly. That's what I felt going into this, was that I don't want to have the stress of adding, because I would have to take the time to film this on my own and then rewatch it and say, man, I said 45 times in the last 3 minutes. I'm gonna have to cut out every time I said so that it's just my head pop 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 pop. So um um yeah. So going on with uh what happened. And then I got into the fasting. I knew I was going to fast. I knew I wanted to fast for 30 days starting November 1st. So I started setting everything up. Like I said, I lost a few pounds, not a lot, prior to doing the start of this. But I went into fasting thinking I was going to come out, eat a low calorie diet, uh, cut back on some things, but try to eat a restricted, uh, SAD diet, standard American diet. Like, well, I'll just make sure I don't eat over 2,000 calories, or if I want to be in a weight loss mode, I'll eat less than 1,000 calories while I'm not fasting. But I will just, if I want to have a burger with cheese, I'll have that. I'll have, at home. I won't buy it from fast food. I definitely was always planning on eliminating fast food from my life because I have to. And that's bottom line. I think that if, like, there's a 1-800-bets off. Like, you see signs where you can call them up and you say, hey, this is my name, this is the state I live in, and like you can like get yourself banned from going onto the boat, or not the boat, the casino. You can get yourself banned from going to the casino, self-imposed, because you have an addiction to. They need that same thing for McDonald's, Hardee's, Burger King, Long John Silver's, Sonic, White Castle, Taco Bell, Taco John, all of them. There's one list. I can sign up. I call my bank and just say, hey, I want to put all these fast food restaurants on the blacklist so my credit card doesn't work there. If I want to buy something from there, I have to go in and pay cash, or else I don't get to buy it because I don't have cash on me that much. But anyways, I'm getting off track here talking about what got me to where I'm at today. Went into the fast knowing I was going to do 30 days, hoping to do more, but not doing like fasting Fat Man 150 days. I never really went in planning to do 150 days. I think that there's definitely benefits. He lost a lot of weight, but even I felt it early on in my fast when I didn't have a lot of energy and I was realizing that I wasn't going to be able to sit there and edit these videos, because at the beginning I thought about doing some editing, and I did edit a few of my earliest videos, just kind of linearly, um, just to kind of get rid of my ums and my verbal tics and any technical issues I had. Then I realized it got rid of any comments, and it's tough because I like the comment part of this where I can interact with people and kind of bounce off. And so if I'm interacting with chat and there's no chat to be read, it's confusing. So I quit editing those videos, and you get to hear all of my technical issues and all of that other stuff. But yeah, I got in to the diet. I realized that I didn't have a ton of extra energy, and that the longer I fasted, the longer I was going to be putting off going forward with my life. And so I hit the 30-day, and I I was like, well, you know what? I'll do 10 more days. And because of daylight savings, 10 more days ended up being 961 hours if I did 40 days. And I don't know, I'm just a number nerd. And I was like, well, that daylight, I mean, if it was 960, that's an even number. Why not just do another 2 days, make it an even 1,000 hours? And then I like round numbers. So I pushed it to the 1,000. I probably could have gone longer. I feel like genetically, at least my body type is designed that if I were in a situation where there was no food source, that the fat that my body stored would be a reliable food for a while. And so through the fast, about halfway through, Carrie was doing her stuff. She even kind of had mentioned cutting out oils from our diet, and I was like, oil? What oils? Who cares? Oil's not a big deal. Then I started hearing about the True North Clinic, Dr. Lyle and Goldhammer. They have a clinic in California, Northern California, where they put patients on medically supervised fasts, and they do a whole food, plant based, salt, oil, sugar free diet. I listened to some testimonials that their clients had given out. Some, I think one or two of them might have been social media kind of people that went there and kind of did recaps of what their experience was. But I really felt like a lot of what those people were saying was just echoing back to me, um, my sentiments, like what I felt like happened in my body over the past, at the time, it was probably 20 days in or 25 days in when I was listening to these, and just being like, yeah, this is their story is as close to my story right now with fasting and how I feel as I've heard. Um, and so then I got digging in with the salt, oil, sugar, uh, and that I believe is the biggest thing that's impacted my diet and my ability to diet and to succeed on this is the removal of salt, oil. I can eat anything else, but if you remove those items, those are all of the items that we're addicted. We're addicted to the sugar. We're addicted to the fat, the oils. We're addicted to salt because it adds taste, like, and there might be other addictive properties to those things, but I feel like our bodies were not genetically designed to have highly fractionated foods in them, and it's something that I probably knew before and just dismissed, or well, we're different now than we were 1,000 years ago, and we are different now than we were 1,000 years ago. But we also are not that much different. I mean, it took 100,000 years to get us from where we started to where we were 1,000 years ago, and I don't know that Cleopatra had table salt and had bottles of olive oil just laying around. I mean, I can't imagine that they were like. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they just uh, and also the thing the trap book talks about is those people like the Cleopatras and the kings, the people that had the access to the things like the excess sugars, salt, spices, things like that. They were the ones that died of cancer and obesity. Um, so found Pleasure Trap, found the True North Clinic about halfway through the diet, and came out and was really hoping that food would taste amazing when I finished my 40-day fast. And it was good, but it wasn't what I remembered. And at the end of it, I was really hoping again to still get what I remembered and not what my reality is. And so it was a bit disappointing at the end of the fast to have that. But also through listening to the resources and my, just finding things is that uh, a lot of them talk about that when you're refeeding, you are developing your new tastes and your new preferences. And so, even though when the first time I had a potato, let's say, it wasn't the greatest thing. It was kind of like bland or whatever. The fourth time I've had a potato, it's much better. And then again, I've talked about it too, is we're learning better cooking strategy or easier things to do. Now, today, my lunch was 2 potatoes with marinara sauce mixed in it. That simple. Just tomatoes, onions, potato, and probably some other ingredients, but I didn't make the marinara sauce because my amazing wife did it for me. But her recipe's probably on our Discord. If you're not on our Discord, it's in the description below. I don't know if you joined the Discord, if things that were posted previously still are there or not. But uh, if it's not, we can repost any recipes, or if anybody's looking for ideas, we can definitely repost them. So came out, wasn't super happy with refeeding, but I'm committed. I mean, I lost 90 pounds in 42 days. So 2 pounds a day. I definitely didn't want to lose any of that momentum. Switching over to a whole food plant-based diet. Uh, there's always a worry, you're going to put the weight back on when you start eating a lot or when you start eating more. And I'm sure if I'd have gone back to what I originally planned and tried to do a limited sad diet, that it would have eventually caught up and I would have gained the weight back. And I probably wouldn't be at 120 pounds lost at this point. I would be closer to where I was when I got out of the fat. I've eaten an incredible volume of food. That was something that uh, I kind of mentioned 20 minutes ago that I was going to come back to. I find that I found a couple times where I have had a whole bunch of food put in front of me. The one time in particular was some brown rice pasta that was larger than a regular bowl, but it was I guess it was like a small mixing bowl, but it was filled with pasta. I think actually it was on my Instagram at Fasting, Fahsting. And I was like, you know what? I'm just hungry. I'm just gonna eat this whole bowl. I was like, do you want any more? I made sure that nobody, and I just gorged myself on that whole bowl, and I didn't feel guilty about it at all because there was no salt, oil, and sugar on it. It was on my diet, and the next day I weighed in, and I was a pound lighter than I was the day before. And so, uh, I don't have a problem with filling my stomach with food and still losing weight. And one of the things we're starting to transition to because of a lot of what I'm getting from the new book that I'm listening to, which is To Live by Dr. Furman, is that I do need to incorporate more green leafy vegetables into my diet. I've been relying on a lot of the starchy vegetables, the potatoes, the corn, brown rice, pasta, um, and then like the oats, like the Ezekiel bread. But they're not real large in volume still. And so we're going to start experimenting with trying to find some lettuce or some salads that we like and I think that, I think it was something Jen kind of said yesterday was that her husband doesn't believe it's a meal unless there's a protein, or well, there's always protein, but unless there's a meat protein, unless you have hamburger or chicken, it's not a meal. And I think I'm going to take that, but I'm going to use it as salad. I don't think it's a meal unless you have a salad. Um, and so I'm going to try, and it's definitely recommended in the pleasure trap that you start every meal with a green salad first, because it's going to be the biggest volume, most nutrients with the fewest calories. Um, and so I'm going to find a salad that I can eat, or find a way to, because I can put cranberries and I can put raisins on it. I can put raw cashews on it. I can put roasted cashews on it, as long as they're not cooked with oil in any way or salt. Sesame or sunflower seeds, or just any seeds can get put on there. I think the biggest thing is going to be finding the lubricant. We had some Well Your World uh, salad dressings that we bought that are no salt, oil, sugar. But what I found with them is that the flavor in them is in like the dates or the raisins they use. So if you don't have like a bit of that in your bite, then the other ingredients I don't think are as great. If that makes sense. So while it does help make things liquid, and but I feel like you need a lot of their dressing to give it a good flavor. At least the one I did. Um, and then let's see. Jennifer said it was a great way to look at it with the salads, I believe, and then that she does Weight Watchers, and that while you stay within your points, you find yourself going days with very few vegetables. Yeah, I think, and there's different doctors that say you can live 100% of your life on starches like potatoes and corn and not have a problem. And then there's doctors that talk about the green leafy vegetables. And I think that from a filling standpoint, I I think there's a lot of satisfaction in having a full belly, mentally and physically. And it's weird to talk about. There's a lot of satisfaction in expelling of waste. I think that people don't talk about enough. Or that was something that I did have on my notes. But I'm hit an hour here, and the last thing I talk about is pooping. That was super. Um, let me see. So I'm really excited with the whole food plant based diet. Not what I planned on going into this, and it's not what. And I talked to Carrie, and maybe a little bit. You don't have to do a whole food plant based diet to lose weight. I think there's a lot of ways you can lose weight, but I think that if you want to have a healthy, sustainable life, that this might be solution for a lot of people. A lot of people with heart and blood issues, a lot of people with cancer issues. It seems to help a lot. And I went 38 years on a animal protein diet. I was 500. I'm going to go 3 years on an animal protein free diet, and we'll see what weight I'm at. That's all I can say as far as. Let's see. Jennifer here made a comment that she makes a salad that mimics one that she used to get at another place, and you loved it. But having all the vegetables on hand and fresh at the same time can be so hard. Yes, I lettuce, tomato, dill pickles, corns, peas, black olives, carrots, and then hard boiled eggs with whole wheat pasta. And we've switched to the frozen corn. Carrie doesn't even warm it up. She just takes corn and just throws it on stuff and waits for it to thaw. The savage. But I warm my corn up from frozen, and then I eat it like a real person should, out of a microwave. Um, so, but yeah, it is tough to have all those vegetables, especially if you're the only one eating that way. We do have the nice thing that we're both eating that way, and then we've really got our kids to start eating fruits a lot, which is cool, but we are running through apples and oranges like mad. And so trying to convince them to share a fruit as opposed to eating a bite out of it and then putting it on the table and walking away. It sucks. But yes, having all the ingredients on hand, and that's why I'm gonna try to work for me to find a simple salad. I can just, I mean, I talked about it. It's in my stream notes. The walking taco bag of lettuce. I want to find a recipe or make a recipe where I can go to the grocery store and I can buy a bag of their garden salad. I can cut the top open, drop lemon in it, drop nuts in it, drop raisins or cranberries in it, mix it up and just eat it out of the bag. I think that because one of the things they talk about in this newest book that I'm listening to is that you should eat a salad prior to your meals, and you should eat a salad that is considered large by today's standards. And so, I think a bag of lettuce would be large. You try to keep a bowl of corn in the fridge. You have to heat it the first time because otherwise your brain thinks it's not cooked. Yeah, it's not cooked. It's not cooked. Once you cooked it, you'll eat them cold. And then yeah, my bag of lettuce, walking taco bag lettuce is what my note says on my thing. I gotta figure it out. Maybe get some beans too, like some whatever. Poker have on hand. I don't know. But I'm at an hour and 3 minutes. That is how I got from birth to 520 plus pounds, and then from 520 to here. I hope if you're watching this that you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the subscribe button on the page. There's like buttons. You can share this with people, would be cool. I try to go live most days during the week. Today was a surprise one, and I thought I would just kind of do from here to there on my weight loss with it. I mentioned it, but I do have an Instagram. It is at Fasting. That is FAHSTING. And then we have a Discord in the link below. There's a link below. I think you can click on that and join the Discord. If you have any questions about anything I said, feel free to add them to the comments to this video. If you watch any of my other videos, I try to respond to comments. I found a couple that I missed. I feel bad, but if you have any questions, I'd love to hear about it. If you have, yeah, just comment. More comments I have on the video, the more people will see the video, the more I can try to grow this weight loss group thing that I'm trying to get going here. Because I think we all need a little bit of accountability. I think that's where like Weight Watchers succeeded, was there was some accountability with that. But at the end of the day, the biggest accountability is going to be self-imposed. Going to be, you have to hold yourself accountable. I could end this video. I could delete my YouTube channel. Nobody would ever. But I hold myself accountable, and I use you guys to help drive me my goals. So, with that, keep yourself healthy and make the best food choices. Find an easier alternative that allows you to stay on your food, on your diet plan. You guys all have a great day. Thanks for listening to me today, and I will be on Monday.